Winning a Grand Canyon private river permit is not easy. And in the 2018 main lottery for the calendar year of 2018 permits, which was held February 22nd, 2017, there were about 6,500 people who applied for about 472 permits, and obviously about just over 6,000 people lost. And because of that, I figured I would put together a presentation to help people prepare for follow-up lotteries and future main lotteries for Grand Canyon River permits using the data the MPS provides so that they can maximize their chances. So the whole idea of this screencast is to help you do whatever you can to increase your chances of getting a Grand Canyon private river permit using the data that the MPS provides to the public. That's me. I'm Buck Crockett. I'm a real person. I'm not a random person on the internet posting fake data. Everything I post has links to the primary material. So if I post a spreadsheet with Grand Canyon statistics, there's always a link to the primary documents from the National Park Service. And that's me in the Grand Canyon. I've been fortunate to do a handful of private trips and have familiarized myself as best I can. I'm still very much learning how this system works and how to maximize chances. So yeah, there's the essential question. Are you doing everything you can to win a Grand Canyon permit? I created all this using MPS data, high school level math, and Google Sheets, and some collaboration with one other person on the internet, Christopher, who just gave me some important insight into some of the probability and statistics. So that's what I used. So here we go. This is it's actually not as complicated as it seems. And if you don't know anything about the Grand Canyon River permit process, this should be helpful. So the way it works is it's a lottery. Anyone who's over 18, there's hundreds of pages of rules, and I'll show you that document in a second. But the basic, most important information you need to know is that there's 5 dates. You can choose 5 dates for 365 calendar days. And this is for the main lottery, which happens every year in February. This year it happened February 22nd. If you've never been down the canyon before, you have 5 points or chances in the lottery. If you've been on a commercial or private trip the previous year, you get 1 point in the lottery. Every year you don't go after a previous trip, you earn back points, up to 5 points. You may see in the data people having more than 5 points. They're from the old system, which was a wait list, and they're still transitioning to the new system. And because of that, they got some extra points. So that's the story there. There's only 472 permits. That number fluctuates maybe between, let's say, 450 and maybe 490. So that's not set in stone, but it's not 800 and it's not 200. It's in that tiny range, and it averages about 472. So that's what people are competing for. And there's a lot more winners, or there's a lot more losers than there are winners. So that's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into the data. So when I first posted this spreadsheet, I ended up on a phone call with the head of Grand Canyon Private Boaters Association, and he asked me, "Do you know how the lottery works?" And I asked him, I was like, "Well, tell me how it works." And I realized that the park hasn't, through our conversation, hasn't given a lot of great information on how exactly it works. This is how they answer that in their weighted lottery FAQs document, which is it's 22 pages. So what the Park Service says how it works is, as you apply and submit your application, you will be able to see exactly how many points your application will get in the lottery. Having a chance in the lottery is somewhat like having a tiny copy of your application thrown into a hat. The computer will randomly pick from that hat, and that application will be considered in full before going into the next drawing from the hat. So they're using a comparison here, and they compare this as, think about your application is in a hat, right? Except you have potentially 5 applications for in 5 hats, and if you don't win your first one, you go into the second one. And so there's odds for all that, but it's not too crazy. Like, it's a computer system, and computers are really good at calculating numbers really quickly, but they're really bad. There's no computer, to my knowledge, and I work in the IT industry, so I feel like I can speak to this with some aspect of professional knowledge. There's no computer that can do a lottery like this. It doesn't. No computer picks from, or the computer system does not pick 5 dates for each person at the exact same time. It goes in a sequence, and it might do that in fractions of a second, but it basically, the way it's probably programmed, and the Park Service doesn't give information on this, but again, having programmed in JavaScript and just done simple and being familiar with how computer programming works and databases work, it's likely that it does everyone's first choice at once. Then the next step, everyone who lost in the first choice goes into the second choice lottery. After that, everyone goes into the third choice, fourth choice, and then fifth choice. So day 1 through 5, lottery 1 through 5, all happening. The computer will process this very quickly. So that's basically how it works. And again, there's this document here that I just found by Googling how the weighted lottery works. Okay, here's this document. And here, this is compiled from, let me click into this link. After a lottery is held, the Park Service puts this information on their website. And so for every date in that launch date, for example, January 1st, 2018, standard size trip, which is 16 people, small size is 8 people, you can see the number of people who applied for that date, the total chances from all those people, and then the applicant that won's chances. So this person had 5, January 2nd, this person had 1. So you can calculate this isn't, probability and statistics isn't exact, but you can definitely get a good range. So it's not black and white, but you can absolutely isolate the range. So if you take these we could, for example, calculate a reasonable probability for this person winning this date by doing 5 divided by 66. It tells us this person had about a 7.5% chance, if we move that decimal over a couple places, of winning this date. And that's how this spreadsheet, which has all the dates for the 2018 main lottery uploaded into it, is programmed. And what I did was I downloaded this PDF, I converted it to a CSV file so that I could copy and paste these 3 columns of data into the spreadsheet for all the dates. Every month has a different color. And so what I did was I took, the person who's won chances, and I divide those by the total chances from everyone else. And that gives the odds of the person who won's odds. And then the losing odds are just calculated by taking this number and subtracting it from 100%. All right. So pretty simple stuff. It's not that complicated. And if you say you applied for January first with 1 point and lost, but you wanted to go in and see what your odds are, I could send you a copy of this spreadsheet, and you just put a 1 in there. And that field, press enter, and you'll see that changed to 1.52%. I'm going to put it back to 5. So you could use this spreadsheet to calculate your specific odds, not just the odds of the person who won. Right? And then I also, if you're familiar with probability and statistics, I started to make box plots for every month. January, you have the best odds. I also put together comparisons of the permits to the applicants. For example, in February, there were 28 permits for almost 1,000 applicants. We look down. Let's go way down. I want to go to October because that's the most popular month. There's my totals. See, a lot of people lost. Let's go. Oh, February. Maybe I didn't do October. We'll just look at the numbers. So here's October, and you can see what the number of applicants increases into the hundreds, and then you even get into the thousands for a couple of these dates. That's, you can see 0.39% for the person who won that permit. You see that person must have been transitioned from the other lottery with 38 points. So a lot of the people on the old system, they all apply for these September, October dates. Okay, so that's how this works. Now, working with Christopher, he made the point that, hey, not everyone has 5 points. Why not? You could do a Monte Carlo simulation, but let's keep this simple. It's not that complicated. Just add columns for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points. So I did that with the follow-up lottery data from April 6th. And so if you had 1 point and you applied, 16 applications, 52 chances, you had almost a 2% chance of winning. If you had 5 points, you had a 9.62% chance of winning, right? So you could just go into this spreadsheet and pick your column of where you're at and find your dates and your information. We also, in column J, we averaged this range, and you get a 3.6%, or 3.6 points is the application average for this lottery. And how did we calculate it? That total chances in the lottery divided by applications. So the average person applying has 3.6 points. So again, not too complicated, I don't think. The biggest takeaways from this is if you want to maximize your chances, you need to apply in the winter and apply in groups, have permit parties. So if you can have 16 people apply for a big range of dates, and it's pretty hard. It's pretty unrealistic. I've never been able to have like a successful 16-person permit party, but get as many people as you can. If you really, really want to go, obviously, mid-December around Christmas is the easiest time to get permits, and same with early January into mid-January. So the winter months are the easiest time to get permits, and it's a cold season. It can snow, but it's still a desert, so it is a great time. I've done winter trips. It's not bad. It's not impossible, and I think it's totally doable. The other thing to know is that the shoulder seasons, again, September, October, where you have these thousands of applicants, are for a single day, or thousands of applications listing a single date. Here you're just throwing money away. if you're applying for these dates, your odds of winning are so stacked against you. It doesn't make sense to do that. So I hope this helps. My next step in this data, I'm going to still keep putting together these charts for at least, my goal for myself is for at least the 2018 year's data, because I think that's most indicative. If you use 2006 data for, say, 2018 cancellations, the application volume was a lot lower then, so it's not going to be as relevant. So I think the latest data is the best approach, just my opinion. And I do plan on coding up a simple Monte Carlo simulation and tinkering this data a little bit more. But to get a good ballpark range of what your odds are, this sheet is really good. And if you want to tinker with it or build on it, if you're a statistician, I think of this as an open source project. So, you just message me. I'll make you a copy of the spreadsheet. You can have with full editing privileges, and you can just build off it on your own way. We don't even have to communicate and exactly how you're doing it, and we can see what your interpretation is on the data. So I hope this helps folks increase their chances by drilling into the data when they apply for future Grand Canyon lotteries. Thanks. Bye.